Folks, we've got a few last-minute changes. I appreciate your patience, and hopefully this will benefit you guys that are here tonight. So anyway, welcome to our May 6th regular scheduled meeting of your Board of Commissioners. Tonight we have several things on the agenda. The first thing we're going to do tonight, though, is we're going to allow Pastor Harry Smith, retired from First Baptist Church in Eden, to issue the invocation. Then following that, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance by Luke Haney, third grade at Wentworth Elementary School. Thank you for being here tonight. And Susan, if you would be sure that his microphone is turned on, I would appreciate it. The handheld. I'm sorry, Heine, I'm sorry. I apologize for mispronunciation. And thank you for that correction, Commissioner Berger. So with that, I'll ask everyone to stand and remain standing.
Let us pray. Awesome God, wonderful, loving Father, we bow before you tonight. We submit to you. We submit all of our issues to you. I thank you so much, Lord, for these commissioners who have dedicated themselves to this community and this county. Give them wisdom, give them skill, give them what they need to continue to make this county even better. And Father, I pray for leaders in all government situations, local, state, national. We need you, Lord. We need you in so many ways. And I pray that you'll raise up a godly man or woman to lead this country and to make us together, to make us that we can get along, that we can love each other, and that we can do things that continue to make America the greatest country in the world. But I want to refocus, Lord, and say thank you for Rockingham County. Bless it in every way. Bless this particular meeting, Father. May your will be done. May what is best for the people of this county be done. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Smith. We appreciate it. Luke, if you'll make your way up, you can just grab that mic. Folks, if you'll face the flag and render the appropriate respect. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Be seated. Folks, we work from a prepared agenda, and usually we stick pretty close to it, but sometimes there are some changes. And gentlemen, at this time, we will entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any changes? Commissioner Richardson?
Mr. Chair, I would move for approval of the agenda with the exception of adding what is now item 7B1 on the third page of this agenda to be just before the consent agenda item number 5.
Very good. We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. So all in favor of the motion to approve the agenda as modified, please say yes or aye.
Question. I believe
Yes.
it needs to be after the consent agenda if they're going to speak during public comment.
Well, I was just going to make that
Okay,
that comment later. We can do it
Okay.
after public.
that's fine. That's
All
fine.
right. So all in favor of the motion and approve, say aye. Aye. Okay, very good. Thank you. What we're doing is that's the Ogburn Mill public hearing that we have advertised, and there have been some changes on that. So we're going to let Mike Fox come up and speak on that. Mr. Fox?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and Board of Commissioners. My name is Mike Fox. My address is 400 Belmead Street, Suite 800 in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I represent the applicant in this case. We've realized that there's some more work that needs to be done on this. We've had an initial meeting with the folks in the neighborhood, heard some concerns and comments then. It had heard additional ones at the planning board, so we'd like some more time to work on this and see if we can come back with a better product for you. This is the first time we've been in front of you for this type of continuance, and I apologize. I know there's a number of people that are here tonight, and sorry that they being inconvenienced, and would be happy. I'll stay during the public comment section so I can hear what they have to say, what their concerns are. But we would request to be put on your July agenda. That'll give us plenty of time to work on this. And we plan on having an additional neighborhood meeting to communicate back with the neighbors any changes that we've made in the proposed project.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Fox. Gentlemen, with that, do we want to make a motion to continue this until July?
Mr. Chair, I would like to have the people that are here tonight for this to have input on this before we cast this vote on this, if that's possible.
Well, we can hold off on that then. What we can do is we're going to extend public comment, so those who have signed up to talk during this public hearing, we're going to let you speak during the public comment. Let me repeat that in case someone didn't get it. If you signed up for the public hearing for the Ogburn Mill rezoning, I'm going to let you speak during public comment tonight. And I would be fine to postpone our vote until after public comment, if that's the will of this board. Is that okay, everyone? Just by consent? Okay. All right, does everybody know what we're doing? Everybody okay? So we're going to hold off. The next item is the consent agenda, and the items on the consent agenda are generally non-controversial items. However, if anyone has a question about anything on that, you can contact Lance Metzler, our county manager. Well, gentlemen, do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Very good. Motion carries. With that, we will open public comment now, and we'll ask our county manager to read the guidelines for that. So the guidelines will be applicable for public comment and those who had signed up for that public hearing. Mr. Metzler?
Yes, Mr. Chair. The public comment period shall be for the purpose of allowing members of the public to present any matter pertaining to county business or items on the Board of Commissioners' agenda. Remarks shall be addressed directly to the Board of Commissioners and not to the staff, the audience, or media. The chairperson shall open the public comment period. Any speaker who wishes to speak shall approach the podium and not speak from his or her seat. Each speaker shall clearly state his or her name and physical address when he or she approaches the podium. Citizens shall be allotted 3 minutes. Citizens will be allowed to yield their time on a specific topic by utilizing one more attendee's time. This will allow no more than 6 minutes. The total amount of time allotted for the public comment period is 30 minutes. Your time will be displayed on the monitor in front of you. The time clock will start with 3 minutes unless yielded time to 6 minutes. You will hear a beep at 1 minute to alert you to wrap up your comments. If you are to yield your time or time is yielded to you, then please let the chairman know in advance. Speakers will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, or use language of a personal nature which insults or demeans any person or which, when directed at a public official, is not related to his or her official duties. The Board of Commissioners may accept written comments in lieu of oral comments. Written statements can be delivered to the county manager's office. Mr. Chair?
Thank you, Mr. Metzler. We appreciate that. With that, we will move to Robert Bean. If you'll make your way, give us your name and address, sir. Is anyone donating their time to you?
My wife will be giving me her time.
You'll have
Sandra.
6 minutes.
Okay, my name is Robert Bean. I'm known as Pete Bean in the neighborhood where I live, 2740 Gideon Grove Church Road in Stokesdale. I was here 2 months or so regarding the Bean Lane property. A amendment was made to amend the UDO from 5 residences to 8. At that time, that was turned down. We were to discuss possibly bringing the road up to state standards, which nobody's discussed anything with me. We've not moved forward with anything. About 3 weeks ago, I contacted Lynn Cochran because I've been having to follow up with this situation the whole time. Lynn assured me at that time, no, nothing's changed, nothing's going on, nobody's trying to do anything. Well, today, I think, let me send Lynn an email just to check in. And I did. I sent y'all a copy of the email. I don't know if you saw it or not, but I'll just read it to you and tell you where we're at on this situation. I said, hello, Lynn, this is Robert Bean. I have noticed some surveying flags on Mr. Doyle's property on Bean Lane. Have you received any application for subdivisions out there, or are there any applications or permits still pending? I find it odd that surveying is going on since it was determined no more residences could be approved out there. Well, this afternoon, I get this response from Mr. Lynn Cochran. Hello, hey, Robert, I hope you have been well. Recently, it was brought to our attention that there is a statutory exemption to the general rules for the subdivision and development of land that neither I nor our director was aware of until a while after the decision on the text amendment that Mr. Doyle proposed last year. Anytime there is a contradiction or lack of clarity in our county UDO on any given subject, and I don't know what that would be, the contradiction or lack of clarity. I thought this was all cut and dried. State statute prevails if it applies to the situation. That is the case with this one. It's North Carolina General Statute 160, on and on and on. I included the actual text of the ordinance below. As such, state law says that Mr. Doyle is allowed to subdivide a tract larger than 10 acres and develop it for single-family detached residential uses. All this means to me, this thing has been turned down. They originally went, it was denied by Mr. Marziano, Mr. Cochran wasn't going to apply. So they come with this amendment to the UDO. Well, that gets shot down. Well, here comes another rabbit out of the hat right here with this thing right here. I don't know where this is ever going to end. There's been nothing done to this road. There's been no talk about doing anything to the road. This is the road that the garbage truck won't even go down. It's all a fire truck's going to be able to do to go down there. And then we're coming up with this again. And again and again, I call, I say, please keep me informed. Nothing. I check in again, and here I have this right here. I mean, and again, I will repeat this. Anytime there is a contradiction or lack of clarity in our county UDO, well, I thought that was plain as day at the last meeting. I thought this was resolved. I really need some help from you gentlemen, if you will, because I don't know where this can end now. I mean, we're talking about a road that's not fit for 5 houses and now potentially just on and on and on. So it does me no good to talk to the planning board, the director, or whoever. I could use some assistance here and direction.
Thank you, Mr. Bean.
Thank you.
Very good. Next on the list, Johnny Ahern. Johnny, if you will, if you just want to come a little to the left, there's a handheld mic there for you. Give us your name and address, Mr. Ahern.
John Ahern, 524 Ogburn Mill Road. As a neighbor of the property on Ogburn Mill Road, we find this continuance to be unfair to our neighborhood, as a bunch of people are here tonight to speak against it. And a lot of them have taken off of work, changed their schedules to do it. Now we're wanting to change it till sometime in July, when a lot of them on vacation. We have one of our neighbors who will be doing surgery, and so he won't be able to be here. So if we're going to continue something like this, we'd like to continue it on till September, October, after school goes back in, where people will be back from their vacations. I think this is a second delay that we came before the county commissioners with. Anyway, we'd like your assistance on this matter, if you will. We don't want it to happen in July. It's bad enough that it don't happen tonight because of all the people we have. Could we get the people that are here for the Ogburn Mill thing to at least stand up so you can see the magnitude of the people?
Well, those that have signed up to speak during the public hearing will be allowed to speak tonight, and they'll go next, Mr. Ahern.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With that, the next person on the list, again, we're going to go down the public hearing list at this point. So if you signed up for the public hearing, you're going to be allowed to speak now. And John Robert Ahern. Mr. Ahern, if you'll make your way, give us your name and address. Just come to the podium, sir, be fine. Okay.
Yes, sir. John Robert Ahern Sr., and I'm here on the same issue. My
Your
son
address,
was,
sir, your address.
beg pardon?
Your address, sir. Your
My
address, where you
address
live.
is
Yes.
530 Ogburn Mill Road for the last 57 years. Anyhow, I'll make mine short and sweet. I trust you guys will understand what we're saying tonight, that this guy has come in and bought he's, according to this thing here, less than 35 acres. He wants to light industrial instead of agriculture residential. We, like my son said, we have a delegation here that has got off work and been here. This is the second time, and we're going to put it off again, which is, I think, is very unfair. I would like for you guys, and I have all the respect in the world for you guys, that you will do what's right, but I would like for you guys to handle this thing and leave it like it is, because it affects so many people. And this land is agriculture, residential, and we have a lot of residential and people that farm the land, and we'd like to leave it like it. So I'm gonna make, like I said, I'm gonna make it short and sweet, but I trust you guys to just, whenever this comes up again, regardless, I hate to think that all these people that are here and myself that have other things to do, that we come just because of the sake of one person that's not doing his job, but yet he's requesting. And here, like my son said, this will be the third time, and we just feel like it's not important for us to have to come every time because of one person. We're many, and we live there, and most of them been living there, like I said, for a long while. But we do trust that you guys will do what you think is best and in favor of these all these people. God bless you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Ahern. Darrell, I can't read your last name, 231 Boone Road? Well, there you go.
Darrell Ahern, 231 Boone Road. I came here with a lot of information I was going to share with y'all, but I'm not going to share it now. Why throw all my ammunition out there right now? Anyway, we just want y'all to deny the request overall. Like my brother had said, July is a bad time, okay? Tonight was when everybody got here. And if you could postpone it even further, if you're going to postpone it. And if you decide not to postpone it, I'd like to come up here and speak and give you the ammunition I have against this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ahern. The next one on the list was Johnny Ahern. Since we're continuing public comment, I'm going to skip you this time since you've already spoken, Johnny. And with that, we'll continue on to Dina McMillan. Yes, ma'am. If you'll make your way. Give us your name and address.
I'm Dina McMullen. I live on 105 Gideon's Mill Road. I came here to, my neighbor and I came here with some pictures and some facts that we have about the road. But I don't know, we're feeling a little uncomfortable. There was no town meetings or anything that the lawyer did speak of that the neighbors, we did not have a neighborhood meeting, is what I'm trying to say. So then I feel some of the things that we have to say, are we tipping our hands that they can turn around and fix these issues before any of this would be brought to the board again? Because my biggest concern is Gideon's Mill Road and Ogburn Mill Road are all dead-end roads. If something were to happen on any of this neighborhood, fire trucks, emergency vehicles cannot get to any resident. If this becomes a commercial property or light industrial, the traffic on Ogburn Mill and 65 would be just, it's not a good, safe traffic area anyway. And that's my statement of, it's a dead-end road. Fire, emergency vehicles cannot get down that road to any of the residents. And like I said, we do have pictures and we have different aspects, but I don't feel today is the time to do that if it's not an official hearing.
Thank you, Ms.
Okay,
McMillan.
thank you.
We appreciate you speaking tonight. With that, we've got Marcy Bryant. If you'll make your way, give us your name and address.
My name is Marcy Bryant. I'm at 117 Gideon's Mill Road. And I didn't really have anything to say, but I have printed off some pictures because I feel like nobody's maybe has seen Ogburn Mill Road and the houses and the farmland and everything.
Susan, would you collect those for us? If you're
And I
if
made
you're
a
comfortable
copy
passing
of the
those out.
plat map as well. And I've also got 2 petitions that we've worked really, really hard on since January, since the last time he postponed. And thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, this is just public comment. With that, that's all we have signed up for public comment tonight. And so we'll close the public comment period. And we're going to move on to item 7A, Ronnie Tate.
Do we need to have a vote where you postpone
You
it?
do want to vote on that, didn't you?
I did.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Mr. Fox?
We don't have any objection if you want to push it to September, if that makes it easier for those folks here.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Powell, do you have a motion?
I have a
Amendment?
question. I have a question
Okay.
first. Clyde, please, Mr. Attorney. I believe this is the third time this has been on the calendar. Is that correct, that we've had this for hearing? Am I right, Mr. Metzler?
I think it'd be, if you reschedule it, it'll be the third time. This has been the second
Second time. So let me ask you, are we obligated to accept the motion for postponement, or could we choose to hear this tonight?
Well, I think it would be better if everyone's in agreement to have a full-blown public hearing at a later date that everyone can agree on. Because I don't know if Mr. Fox is prepared to proceed tonight. His client's not here.
Okay. In that case, I'll make a motion that we postpone this till September, and I would ask that the petitioner pay the cost for the advertising for the original meeting and this one, I'm sorry, for this meeting and for the next one. The advertisement and cards for the meeting we'll have in September concerning this.
Is there a second to the amended motion? Okay, very good. We have a motion and a second. So any further discussion? Any questions?
Meeting in September.
The second one.
Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Thank you. So we're moving this to September. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, folks, for coming. We appreciate you, your interest in this issue. With that, now we're moving to item 7A. And Mr. Tate?
Before we, Mr. Fox, for the folks that are here, do you have any idea when you may hold those community meetings or where?
I don't have an exact date yet, but it would be in significant time ahead of your next hearing. We would probably shoot for that in July or so, or,
Okay.
to try to be able to not catch, we want to work with everybody's schedules.
Is there a place that they need to maybe look, I don't know, online? I don't know how you communicate with the people when you have those community meetings. I'm just trying to get them that information. So what's the best way for them to get the information as to when you may have those community meetings? Where would they find that?
So we'll typically contact them. We use the same mailing list that you do,
Okay.
in terms of notification, and we'll send one to everybody on that list. And we also always tell people, if there are other people that are, nearby that might be 10 feet outside the line, but they would want to come, to let them know, and we're happy to include them.
Okay, all right. Thank you. I was just trying to get that information to the people
Yeah.
that are here.
Have one or multiple meetings?
It depends, at least one, in terms of.
Trying to be considerate of the comment about vacations, because
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, it would probably be more toward the end of July. I know, and that doesn't coincide with your meeting schedule, but we would work with them on a date, yeah. So,
Thank you. I was just trying to
Yeah,
get that
thank you.
information to them before they left. And ladies and gentlemen, what he's talking about is something that they're doing voluntarily. And so that doesn't have anything to do with what the county does. But just wanted to get that information to you.
Planning Department certainly has my contact information too, so anybody who reaches out to them can pass my information along to them, or pass their name and number to me, and I'll make sure they get invited as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Ready to move ahead?
Yes, sir.
All righty, now we're down to 7A, Ronnie Tate.
Good evening, gentlemen. I got two items tonight, but the first one is the second reading for the franchise agreement for Wall Recycling to begin operations at the Rockingham County landfill. And tonight, if the board chooses to do so, we're asking for or requesting approval of the actual franchise agreement for the life of site 2055 for the landfill. If you remember from my presentation at the last meeting, Wall Recycling began operations at the landfill in October of '22 under a short-term agreement. And during that time, they managed the daily operations and maintenance at the site. And just a couple of quick highlights. I noted a lot of these at the meeting last week, but during that time, we've had no NCDQ notice of violations. Compaction rate has increased. Wall Recycling has begun the use of alternate daily cover at the site. Also, as of last week, they participated in 2 citizen no-charge weeks at the landfill. They've installed a second outbound scale. And during this time, they've worked closely with us and with our engineering staff to ensure operations are running correctly at the site. And so staff is recommending approval of the franchise ordinance for operations, maintenance, and management of the landfill by Wall Recycling. And I'll be glad to answer any questions, or try to, that you may have.
All right, do you have any questions at this time? If not, let me go ahead and open the public hearing. We've got no one signed up to speak. So at this time, we will open the public hearing for this issue. This is the second public hearing and public reading for the landfill franchise agreement. We have no one signed up to speak. So with that, we will now close the public hearing. Now, gentlemen, do we have any questions, any discussion?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Only
Commissioner Barrett.
question I have is for Mr. Albright. So last time when we heard this, it was contingent upon the local government association. Have we heard back from that?
I spoke with the general counsel of the treasurer's office this afternoon, and she was 99% sure they wouldn't have a problem with it. I'm going to send her a letter confirming our conversation tomorrow. So I think we're good to go with it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Gentlemen, with that, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion to accept this proposal. Do we have a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Thank you, gentlemen.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Appreciate y'all being here. All right, next item is B, Hiram Marziano, Community Development Director. And this is going to be for the case 2024-10 for a zoning text amendment change.
Don't be surprised if Marzi looks a little different tonight.
He does. He does.
Good evening, y'all. Marzi is actually attending an educational flood conference to maintain certifiable hours, so I'm presenting this amendment this evening. This amendment principally came at the request of the commissioners. Let me display this right quickly. It's just an informational slide. Roy, if you could show that. It's an amendment to create a UDO advisory committee. So this is a proposed text amendment. The intent is to establish an advisory committee made up of citizens of the county as a permanent part of the text amendment review and process. I don't know why it's not showing up. Usually does when I do the thing. There we go. Thank you. Wrong thing. There we go. This will be a permanent part of the text amendment review process. Their function will be to provide comments and suggestions on proposed text amendments to the UDO. They will not review proposed zoning map amendments. And what you have in your packet is the red bold language, which is new, which establishes the formal basis for what this committee will be, who will be on it, how it will be appointed, and its duties. In addition to that, while we were looking at this section of the UDO, staff proposes one change, which is number 2. Article 6, let me back up. Article 6 will create the establishment and powers of the UAC. Section 33.02 is something that staff has been concerned about for several reasons. We currently discuss all consistency and reasonableness concerns with any applicant. We incorporate that into the reasonableness and consistency statements that we prepare for both boards. On occasion, we ask that these folks address consistency and reasonableness directly with this board. We currently can ask them to write up a formal statement should it seem necessary. I will say the vast majority of text amendments the vast majority of zoning amendments of any kind that we get are local citizens, usually smaller in scale. We might get 1 or 2 a year that are quite larger in scale. And in many ways, asking a local citizen to prepare such a technical bit of language regarding planning seems like a bit of a burden. So we incorporate this and discuss it and get to that point. This has been misunderstood by multiple members of the community since it's been added to the ordinance, misinterpreted as a requirement for a formal written consistency and reasonableness statement, which is not what it means. So the point of this is to clarify that and basically match the current practice that we're engaged in. It involves a little bit of information, but I'll stop there, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Thank you. Gentlemen, do we have any questions? Commissioner Berger?
So I guess with regards to the committee, I don't know that we need to make a text amendment to the UDO. What we had initially was a committee to help in the preparation and review of that initial draft. And with the understanding that anytime you undertake something as significant as the entire UDO, that some things would be overlooked, or it'd be a little bit of a breathing document, especially at the beginning. Initially, when some of those changes were coming, I would ask the question whether or not that committee had reviewed them, and I consistently got the answer no. And then was starting to get an answer of it's not a committee, and we went back and forth. These are volunteers. I don't know that we need to change the UDO to establish a formal committee. It doesn't need to be in the UDO. I think what we may want to do is just have either an understanding that a number of things will be submitted to this group of folks that are volunteers. Maybe it needs to say may instead of shall, but not be part of the UDO. And just have a time limit on how long these folks would serve, and just have the original people that were part of that group, and just say that this group will dissolve in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever the case may be. But I don't think we need anything more than that. The issue of having staff say that they're not a committee, the issue of having staff say that they don't have to send it, I mean, it was just something where we've got volunteers that's got a very good background in land development, in real estate, and having those folks review things so we end up with the best product that we could have was the whole intent of having that group to start with, and knowing that it is a breathing document and more mistakes would be recognized at the beginning or the first part of this. I think that's all we really are asking for. So that's as far as the UDO committee that we're talking about.
Mr. Powell?
Yeah, so my understanding of this committee that we're talking about is, as Commissioner Berger said, they were enlisted to help revise the UDO several years ago. Is that correct?
Both the land use plan and the UDO in 2019 to 2021.
And I remember being at the meeting, not as a commissioner, but as a member of the public when that was adopted.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of comments about, we realize that we may have to change things as we go along. You cannot make all these rules and take into account every scenario that may come up. So I think everybody realized that this was a large undertaking that may need to be tweaked in the future. My suggestion would be, why can't we acknowledge that this board existed, and say that we will use the same members, that they will remain on the board for a term of 5 years. And it will be up to the commissioners whether we send something to them or not. Every text amendment doesn't need to go to them to be reviewed. Some of them are pretty cut and dried. We need to change them. And then at 5 years, that's abolished unless there's other action by the board. If we do what we're talking about here now, then we've created another committee that we have to keep up with their terms, and when they go off and when they come on, and we have to appoint people. We've traditionally had problems with that with the committees we already have. And so I'm not sure that this rises to the occasion of needing that. The other thing that I'd like to bring, when you are proposing text amendments, so they go to the planning board first, how much time do you have to give them notification to the public or to the board that those are coming before the planning board?
So your question means before?
If you're going to propose a text amendment change,
Yeah,
you have to notify the public that that's going to be taken up. How long is that notification prior to the planning board meeting that will be discussed?
For a text amendment, there is no direct notification of the planning board other than what is prepared in the packet and presented to the planning board approximately 10 days before the meeting. That's the only statutory requirement.
So the public does not have to be notified of the planning board
until it gets to the Board of Commissioners.
It gets to the Board of Commissioners. So what I would like to say is that what I would like to see changed is that 10-day period that you're sending this to the planning board on text amendments only. I think that prior to that start of that 10-day period, when you have to notify the planning board that this is coming, that the commissioners should receive a copy of the text amendment. Because if we'd gotten one in this, and I'm not being critical of this process, I'm just saying if we'd gotten this before that, we could probably resolve this before it ever got to this meeting tonight. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
Text amendments have gotten to be pretty controversial sometimes in the county. And so I, as a commissioner, would like to have the opportunity to review them before they've been notified that somebody's going to be taking action on them, so that if they need to be squashed, we can just do that. And we don't have an unnecessary hearing for that. Is that a possibility that could be sent individually to the commissioners for their review prior to the 10-day notification to the planning board of their packet?
The only thing I would say about that, or at least we need to think about, is maybe not making that request or as part of a requirement, but just have it as a working understanding. Because I would hate to end up in a situation where maybe the notification sent 9 days and then a change gets kicked out in the courtroom because of that requirement. When the 10 days
So
is
I'm not
just.
suggesting it's necessarily a requirement. It can be a gentleman's, agreement if that's what we want. But I do believe that it's important for the commissioners, particularly in this right here. Now, I did see it when we got our packet for review. So but at that point, it's already been through one process. You see what I'm saying? So if we had this before it went to, before the planning board was notified, we would have the opportunity to weigh in on it. Some of this we could probably just stop. And I would like to, I've said all I probably need to say about that, but one other question that I have is that on the reasonableness clause, if I understand it correctly, we're proposing to take that out of the UDO in its entirety. Is that correct?
That's not the actual proposal, but that would be our second recommendation.
What is the proposal you're bringing to us tonight? Tell me what that requires.
I'll read previously, the ordinance said the Community Development Director recommendation, upon receipt of the application to the UDO of the zoning map, shall examine it for completeness. Upon acceptance, the Community Development Director shall then prepare and submit a written report with the recommendation to the Planning Board. Prior to that, item C on the text page, right now it says that the applicant is responsible for a detailed statement of all circumstances, factors, and reason, including a statement as to the reasonableness for the proposed rezoning or text amendment, which the applicant offers in support of the proposed amendment, such as, but not limited to, these things. That's what I was addressing specifically when I mentioned that most folks who apply for rezonings are local citizens. That's sort of a highly technical requirement. There are some locations that require that. It's places like Raleigh. It's places like Chapel Hill. We feel like that would be a significant burden to require any sort of written statement, which hasn't been a requirement. It's just a statement. And very often it's made orally at the meetings. Very often it's discussed with us and then incorporated into our consistency and reasonableness language. What this does is make it clear that we are not requiring a written statement or a specific statement about consistency and reasonableness from someone who might not have any idea what that actually means in the planning world. An attorney for a firm that works at a national level, that does rezonings all over the place, they're probably used to doing this thing, but that's a rare circumstance.
So I guess my question for that would be, if a person comes in and requests rezoning for a particular project, certainly they believe it's reasonable. Wouldn't you agree?
Exactly. And what happens is we have a pre-application meeting. We discuss what their goals are. We discuss with them what the land use plan says for the area, what the zoning looks like in the area. Does it seem to be, at first blush, a reasonable and consistent request? And we let them know that, take comments, and we incorporate that into the written motions that we prepare.
So My question was going to be, I mean, there's not a lawyer in this world that can't make any request reasonable. That's what they do. They deal in the gray all the time.
Right.
So what good does it do us to have that in the UDO at all? So why would we have that reason? It's not required by state law.
Right. That's what I wanted to propose next. If we look at this and we feel like it's too cumbersome, state statute requires consistency and reasonableness statements to be prepared by staff for boards and presented to boards exactly as we currently do. This is redundant and extra. So if we don't want to move to sort of this clarification, then our recommendation would be to remove this from the ordinance.
Is this part of the same UDO that deals with this committee?
It's included in this amendment, but
it's a different article.
It's a different article, yeah. So any motion that you wanted to make specifically about that, I believe if Mr. Hall agrees, it could be incorporated into the motion. And I do want to say one thing about this language that we prepared briefly, was with counsel, with legal input to try to establish a basis. This was just what was thought to be the best idea. And if you folks would like to set up a different process, we're open to that. That's fine. This was simply proposed after we had discussions with counsel and sort of streamlined it, brought it down, and then to bring it to you all.
Thank you for what you're doing. I just had questions about it. I would like to ask the county attorney a question here. Two, please. Number one, this reasonableness clause has no bearing on any liability protection for the county in any rezoning suit that may be brought to the county in the future. Is that correct?
By the time it gets to the board, planning staff has already prepared a statement of reasonableness and consistency, and the board in their legislative function will make that decision. And as such, you have legislative immunity.
Okay. My second question is there's been some concern in some parts of the county that this is being looked at as a way to assist in judicial matters involving Camp Carefree. This would have no bearing on that case since we won that. I believe it's now up for appeal, but it would be appealed on the basis that this was the language at the time that hearing was had. Is that correct?
That case was decided, and any appeal will be made on the transcript of the record in that case. So this would have no bearing on that case.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, any further questions? Well, Commissioner Barrow, go ahead.
I think it's not a question, it's just a comment. I don't have any objections to what Commissioner Berger said. I guess my only feeling about this is that whenever this committee has been referenced in the past, there's been questions about, is it a committee, is it standing,
Correct.
Is it not standing?
Correct.
My only concern is transparency. With other committees and boards, we have a process for which it's public who's on the board and who's in the committee and these sorts of things. So my only concern is transparency. I don't have any problem with what Commissioner Berger said as far as, dissolving after a certain amount of time and not actually being something we appoint new people to. I just feel like it's been an issue of transparency in the past.
I agree, and I'm with you on that one. And that's kind of what brought about the language that we did to suggest this committee, who can provide a very valuable function in what we're doing because they're deeply embedded in the community, as Commissioner Berger mentioned. If you feel like it doesn't need to be something in the UDO, it could be something that the board discusses with legal counsel and writes up as a policy. So it gets included in information about it, gets included in reports, who's on the committee, that kind of thing. That transparency could be maintained without necessarily adopting the text amendment if the board strongly feels like that's not the best path forward.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
From my point of view, if you will, gentlemen, several of these text amendments have been brought up in the past, and I know the question was asked, has the UDO committee looked at it? And they hadn't. And this committee consists of business people around the community, surveyors, real estate developers, bankers, attorneys,
Engineers.
builders, engineers, and so they have a wealth of experience that they're willing to share with us. So I think the goal is just to reach out and use that knowledge that exists in this community that these folks are willing to provide to the county. Whether we do it as a text amendment or do it as a policy, I think I'm okay with it. I just think we need to ensure that we utilize the brain trust, if you will, of these folks who are in the community willing to help us out. Commissioner.
Well, and just for some clarity, the people on that, part of that group were appointed by the Board of Commissioners. It's the same group of folks. They've served now since whatever year you said.
To 2019.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, as far as transparency, it's a group of folks that were approved by the Board of Commissioners. It's been, I don't know any other way to explain it.
Point, Commissioner Berger, I guess, excuse me, Mr. Chair. I was just going to say, if you want to know who's on the planning board, you just go to the county website and right there's planning board. If we could just put some pictures and names up and phone numbers on the county website and say, these are the people that were involved with the UDO committee and this is how you get them. That's enough for me. I mean, I just.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah.
Currently, we only list the planning board member names. We do not publish phone numbers because there have been instances in the past where planning board members can get, I don't want to use the word harassed, but barraged. And they're private citizens who volunteer to serve on this board and spend their time. And a lot of folks and a lot of places do publish phone numbers for planning board members and advisory.
I was just saying, for example,
I
names
just
and
wanted to
pictures
clarify
is
that.
fine, whatever.
Names.
That's all I'm trying to get
Maybe
at.
an email, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I'm not opposed to this group of people either. I think they add an invaluable education value to this process. The things that I am a little bit concerned about is I personally would not want to see any language that requires us to send a text amendment to this group. It should be based on whether the commissioners want to either individually or as a group seek out their opinions on a text amendment. And I don't want to hamstring the board in being able to take action on a text amendment in a timely manner should we need to, because sometimes we need to correct something quickly. And so that's my only good. So if we can do this as a policy, then I'm fine. I do agree with Commissioner Berger. I don't think it needs to be in the UDO.
I'm simply reading back through the actual language to make sure we're all on the same page.
While you're doing that,
just to look to see if there's a shall or a must or anything like that. Yeah.
Just bring it back.
let's break this into, we can have a public hearing tonight, but we can break it into two pieces and do Article 2, take Article 2 out, which deals with the UDO committee, and vote on Article 3, which just deals with the procedures, with the omission of the changes to G1. If we want to do that.
Yeah, and I would say as far as the changes that he's looking to do, as far as this committee, just bring it back next month.
So we need a motion to table that?
I think he's got to open the public hearing first.
Since we advertised, I think we have to do that, right?
Yeah, and if it's coming back as a policy versus UDO, you don't need a public hearing for that.
Out of the UDO and develop it as a policy, it can simply come to the commissioners for review. And taking out or not adding in G1A in that portion.
Right. Well, or the other, yeah, you can leave in or their designee in G1.
And where it says, the UAC shall make comments, may make comments as directed by the Board of Commissioners. That's a simple fix.
Well, let me get rid of this first, real quick. We're going to open the public hearing at this time.
Sure.
And we have no one signed up to speak for it, so don't leave. And we'll close the public hearing at this time. So we have fulfilled our legal requirement. And, yeah, Commissioner Powell?
So if we're going to bring this back as a policy, can I make a motion to deny this request?
Well, if we wanted.
Or do you just want to table it?
Well, do we want to take this part, just address the one part, right? Is that
That's
what?
right.
Okay.
Just the committee part's what we're addressing now.
So what you're going to do is you will remove Article 2, and in Article 3, you're going to remove G1A. So that's G1A is this part that deals with UDO.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be removing Article 2,
All we're doing
Article, yeah.
is clarifying that reasonableness statement, taking that out. That's all we're doing.
Can we, or I was under the impression we were going to do the reasonableness part as a separate section. Is that,
That's Article 3.
okay?
See, the reasonableness starts here under
Okay.
procedures.
So
And
this is
2 is just the UDO
the
committee.
UDO committee.
Right.
And that's what I'm asking. If we're going to bring it back as a policy, then I can just make a motion to not approve this because it's not coming back to us in the UDO.
As this,
form.
is that right, Mr. Attorney?
That'd be the cleaner way to handle it.
Very good.
So I'll make a motion to not approve the changes to the UDO as pertaining to Article 2 on the UDO committee.
Or the whole presentation. Is that right, Clyde? Is that what you understand?
Pardon me, I didn't catch that.
Just, in other words, deny the whole presentation tonight and bring something back next time that's cleaner, just a policy.
I think that'd be the best way to do it.
Yeah.
No, not the whole presentation, because just the committee part.
Right, because he did talk about the reasonableness section
Right,
as
right. And
well.
we are leaving that in.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Now,
So do we understand the proposed motion? Do we have a second?
Do we have a motion?
Yes,
I
we
thought
do.
we did. I thought we did.
The motion is to deny the request to change the UDO
In regards to the
in
committee?
regards to the committee.
So we're removing Article 2, and we're removing
G1.
G1A that references the UDO committee.
And are we also removing Article 3, Division 3C?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, would that be the best way, or approve the language and remove those two, the areas you were talking about as far as the committee and those areas?
See, yeah, I thought we were looking to keep in Article 3,
Let's
2C.
how about we just do this?
Lord.
Yeah, how about we just
Get some lawyers involved.
make the motion that you want to approve, and then make a motion to deny everything else. I want to just do it that way.
I can't do that. That'll work. When we get to the reasonableness, I got something else to say about that.
Well, make your motion on the reasonableness.
All right, so
Whatever you want to
on the
approve.
reasonableness, I would make a motion that we approve the removing of the reasonableness altogether from the public's part of that.
3C.
3C.
So, Don, for clarification, are you satisfied with how it is here? How it's struck out on the packet right there? Are you satisfied with how that looks?
Yeah, I think. Charlie and I
Right
looked
in,
at that
right in,
earlier,
right
but
in. So the text says, if required by the Community Development Director, a detailed statement of all other circumstances, factors, and reasons, and we're
for
striking
the
out.
proposed
Yeah.
rezoning. Yeah, so
So that
that's
would
the
be
way
the
I would.
revised text.
If required by the director.
But it's, if required by the director,
Right, if required by the Community Development
a
Director.
detailed statement of all other circumstances, factors, and reasons for the proposed rezoning. It's
Consistent
taking out
with-
the reasonableness.
Yeah, and it just says, in other words, consistent with county adopted plans, compatibility of the proposed rezoning with the property and surrounding area, and the benefits and detriments of the proposed rezoning for the landowner, the immediate neighbors, and the surrounding community.
I'm guessing that the motion would be, if I understand it correctly, that it would be to approve the language.
If you're satisfied with it. I mean, it's,
Because that takes the reasonableness out of it.
yes, sir.
I think every member of the public believes their project's reasonable.
They wouldn't submit it if they didn't.
That's exactly right.
So
And it's up to the county to decide it's not reasonable if that's the case.
to your point, yes, that's what that is. So-
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm not an attorney, but I do have a motion on the floor that we accept the language in this UDO.
I second the motion by Commissioner Powell to remove the language regarding the committee and to accept the language as written under Article 3, number 2C.
Thank you.
I got it.
Good. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much,
Boy, that was
gentlemen.
fun.
That was fun.
All right, very good. With that, that takes us to Melissa Joyce, our fire marshal.
I did want to split them up. Oh, my. Maybe this one will be clearer.
Good evening.
Gentlemen. As you will find from the Fire Protection Service District report that you have received, I'm requesting that the county commissioners find that the proposed Ruffin Fire Protection District needs one or more of the services, facilities, or functions listed in North Carolina General Statute 153A-301. We have provided the proposed map for the district showing the boundaries. We have provided the statement to show that the proposed district meets the standards, excuse me, North Carolina General Statute 153A-302A. Ruffin Fire Department has prepared a plan for providing fire service to this district. Ruffin Fire Department had a public community meeting in February of 2023. It was prominently advertised in the entire proposed district. They had 50 people in attendance and discussed the benefits of constructing their substation and the absorption of the Pelham Fire District area location in Rockingham County. We, after the last meeting, we actually advertised the public hearing on April the 24th in the Rockingham Now for all the public to see, and we mailed the public hearing cards out to all the residents of the proposed district, and they went out on April the 3rd. Since then, I have received only 4 phone calls inquiring about the public hearing. When I received those calls, as the caller would come in, I would immediately ask them what their address was, because I wanted to know from their understanding, were they calling from the non-rated district, were they calling from the Pelham district, or were they calling from the existing Ruffin district? Of those 4 phone calls, they all called from the existing Ruffin district. In addition to that, from the mailings that we sent out, the public hearing cards, I did receive 9 of those back as non-deliverable. Some of them were non-deliverable as addressed, and some were vacant. I did receive an additional call today, and they were just wanting to know when the fire station was going to be opened. So at this time, if you have questions for me or if you have questions for Chief Compton, we have some additional information to maybe fulfill those questions for you.
Gentlemen, do we want to have any questions prior to the public hearing? With that, let's go ahead and open the public hearing.
Okay.
And I'll ask if our county attorney will go ahead and discuss the guidelines for us tonight. We have 4 people signed up.
All those desiring to speak during the public hearing will sign in on the sign-up sheet. And the public hearings are for receiving concerns or comments from the public prior to the Board of Commissioners taking action on this item. A hearing is not a dialogue or a debate. Its purpose is to receive additional facts, comments, opinions, and it's open to the public. The chairperson or designee will read aloud the specific issue. You've already heard from the fire marshal as to why this is necessary. The public who have signed up to speak will have 3 minutes to speak, or they can yield their time for a total of 6 minutes collectively. Speakers will be called in order which they have signed up, and the person called on is yielding their time. They'll state the name of the person they're yielding their time to. So when you come to the podium, please state your name and address. And once all the comments are made, the chair will close the public hearing and the deliberation of the board will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Albright. With that, we will open the public hearing. We have 4 people signed up to speak. The first one is Raymond Stanley. If you'll make your way to the podium, give us your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Raymond Stanley.
Yes, my name is Raymond Stanley. I live at 131 Williamson Creek Road. My whole life I've lived on that road. For years, we've been trying to get a substation in our Mayfield community. That being said, I would like to thank our former chief, Eric Minner, our current chief Compton, Reese Pirtle, Senator Berger, for their part in helping us get this substation and a new fire truck coming. I have lived in a non-rated area my whole life. Every time we've called 911, the Ruffin Fire Department has responded to our needs. This is something that has needed to happen for many years. I applaud their persistence and their commitment to serve in our community. As you know, where we're at, we are going to be a bedroom community. We have the casino going up in Danville. We're only 10 minutes away. We have the whole Berry Hill Corridor project that is kicking off right now, which we see an influx. We have a lot of unused farmland that is happening that you can see the potential growth. The Ruffin Fire Department is putting things in place now for that future growth. We also entertaining the possibility of having an EMS unit stationed there at certain hours for our community. It's an older community. It's a service that we greatly need, that we greatly look forward to having in our community. Like I say, I'm a lifelong resident of that community. I feel, I'm not speaking for the whole community, but I'm speaking for my neighborhood that I live in, that this is something that we want. My personal opinion and my personal facts with my insurance agent, my insurance is going to decrease by $800 for a total of the year. That will I will more than gladly give that to the Ruffin Fire Department to make up for what we have for that. Like I say, I just want to applaud them. Like I say, all the people that were involved in this to make this come true and to make this happen for the safety and betterment of our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Stanley. Next is Bobby Wharton. Please make your way to the podium. Give us your name and address.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I'm Bobby Wharton, 237 Worsham Mill Road in Ruffin, North Carolina. I am in the district that Ruffin has had forever. But anyway, I've been a member of the fire department for a number of years too. And to have this new station, the stars kind of aligned and we got help from the state. The station has been built. There is a fire truck there now that has already responded to some calls, and there is a medical truck there that has already responded to some calls. And a lot of people want to talk about the dollars, what it costs them personally to have this. What is important with the fire department, and has always been this way, is the amount of time it takes for you to get there when you get the 911 call. And this new station with the equipment there decreases the time when somebody makes that call that they can get there almost immediately. They are within 5 or 6 miles closer than where the trucks have been coming from. So anyway, I am in favor of this. I am so pleased to see this coming about. And like I said, we've gotten help from the state, and I hadn't heard hardly anybody say that they wasn't tickled to death to see this new station. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Mr. Wharton. Thank you for your dedication to this county. We appreciate your service as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Rodney Hodges.
My name is Rodney Hodges. My address is 290 Chandler Mill Road. I appreciate the opportunity to have my voice heard tonight. I couldn't agree with the last two speakers more. I live like 2.4 miles away from the new fire department, and Ruffin is 8 to 10 miles away. I mean, it's right in my back door pretty much. And I want to thank each and every one of you for doing what you did to get it in my neighborhood. Like you said, most of us are older people that live there. I've had calls next door and across the road from me and stuff, but it's just a miracle to have something like that in our neighborhood. And I want to thank y'all so much. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. With that, we have a Paul Newton, is that right? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you'll make your way, give us your name and address.
My name is Paul B. Newton. I reside at 10895 NC 700 in Pelham. And Commissioners, Fire Marshal, Chief. I've lived on that road for 64 years. Ruffin Fire Department supported the area where I was growing in the Mayfield area on 700. Always been there for us. I'm very appreciative. And a previous speaker asked, about the dollars and cents. Well, building it, I know what things are now. I expect it, and it is what it is. My dollar and cents questions, the brochure, don't doubt the fire marshal on all the notices, whatever. I only got the one, and that was for this meeting tonight. That's why I'm here. We didn't know what the building was until it became obvious. The memo for this meeting said that in order to save our county taxpayers some money. I'm wondering exactly what that means. We live exactly on less than an eighth of a mile from the Caswell County line. Pelham and the new station are about equal distance. Will we have a choice on which fire station we use? And if they're talking about abolishing Pelham, will we have a choice to keep in both if we so choose? And where are we saving money? Is it because we're going to be closer to a fire department, save a little money on homeowners? Or is it going to be a lesser rate than Caswell County was charging? Those are my questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With that, we will close the public hearing. And we'll allow Ms. Joyce to come up, and if you want to answer any of these questions, or the commissioners may have some questions to follow up.
Okay, I'd first like to start with addressing the concern of the gentleman that just spoke. His concern is he lives 0.8 of a mile from the Caswell County line in the Pelham District. I have checked with our tax department, tax rate, which is fire tax rate for the Pelham District is 0.0614. And with that being said, that's what their current tax rate is. If that district goes into the new Ruffin, the proposed Ruffin district, that tax rate would go to 0.13. So yes, there would be a tax increase. Now, with him being within the 0.8 of a mile of the line, he is within Pelham's 5-mile tax district, 5-mile ISO rating district, and Pelham is a protection class 5, and Ruffin is a protection class 6. I had the insurance agent run multiple different ways of policies, and unfortunately, he would not see a difference in his homeowner's insurance. The rate is exactly the same. The rate, what I actually had the insurance agent do, I pulled an address from the 5-mile district, the 6-mile district, both of Pelham, and I've had them pull an address for the non-rated area, the one that the other gentlemen were speaking of. Within the 5-mile district, those people will see a tax increase. It would go from 0.614 to 0.13. What they would see, even though they would see an increase in taxes, what they would see is an increase in response time. With his particular situation and with the particular area as far as responses go, I'd like to bring Chief Compton up. He's the Ruffin chief, and I'd like for him to discuss about the differences in responses for the Pelham district that we have right now in the county, both the 5-mile and the 6-mile district, and the response time that Pelham has in responding to calls for that area.
So just to clarify one thing real quick, Ruffin is a protection class 5 and Pelham is the protection class 6.
Did I say it backwards? I apologize.
The biggest difference you're going to see by being absorbed into the Ruffin Fire District, and we wouldn't be abolishing anything. If we start a structure fire in that area, Pelham Fire Department will be on automatic dispatch in that area too. So it's not abolishing the response of Pelham Fire Department. It's just putting Ruffin Fire Department as the first due fire department for that area. What I'll use as an example from today, actually, it just happened today. So there was a medical call that was dispatched earlier this morning in the 10,000 block of Highway 700. That's just before you get to Pryor Road. It's going to be roughly 2 miles from our new station. EMS was dispatched at 10:59:26. That's Rockingham County EMS. The Pelham Fire Department was dispatched at 11:01:58. And that's 2 minutes and 24 seconds delay in dispatch time alone. And that's due to the call being transferred to Caswell County. And it took a little bit of time to process that call. So they're already 2 minutes and 24 seconds behind us now. You would have the same thing if a structure fire were to come in. So, and we've seen longer delays in that call. I've noticed some longer delays even in call processing times with other calls. But Pelham had a truck en route at 11:12:05, and they arrived on scene at 11:17:31. That's a total response time of 18 minutes and 5 seconds from the time that Rockingham County dispatched the first unit. Now, if that call would have been, if Ruffin Fire Department would have been dispatched instead of Pelham Fire Department, it would have been a simultaneous dispatch of fire and EMS at the same time, so we'd have got the call at the same time. We would have had a truck en route probably in less than a minute turnout time because we had somebody on duty today. We have about a 5-minute response time to that same area. That's what Ruffin averages to the Caswell County area. Pulled that data today as well. That would have put us on scene at 11:05:30, roughly 10 minutes before EMS arrived. Pelham arrived 1 minute and 31 seconds after EMS arrived. So, you know, if there would have been a real life-threatening emergency there, they would have been of little benefit in the first responder mode. With the opening of our new station, we have the potential to even cut down on that response time even more. If I would have had a staffed person at our second station today, that response time would have been probably 3 minutes total if Ruffin would have been on initial dispatch. And that's just one example of the response time difference between what Pelham can provide and what Ruffin can provide. I'll use have a little bit more data. Pelham has been having trouble getting, daytime volunteers in the daytime, which we all suffer with that. All volunteer fire departments struggle with daytime volunteers. That's the whole reasoning behind having a staff person during the daytime, at least Monday through Friday. During 2023, Pelham Fire Department requested mutual aid from Ruffin Fire Department 69 times. 31 of those 69 requests were for medical response only, and that's not typical. Most fire departments handle medical responses on their own. Pelham is not able to provide that service during the week, Monday through Friday, so they call us for help. So we respond to that area pretty frequently anyway. And most of those, like I said, are Monday through Friday between 8 and 5. And that's just one example of how we're going to be able to provide a more efficient service. And he is right. The stations are similar. Pelham Fire Department is 3.8 miles from the county line. Our new station is 3.1, so we're only 0.7 of a mile closer. But a staffed person being at that station makes a big difference between the level of service that we provide versus what Pelham Fire Department provides, because they have no staffed people at their station currently.
All right, gentlemen, do we have any questions? Commissioner Richardson, I'll get you next.
Notwithstanding, I think I understand the numbers well following fire attacks all over the county. I think the bottom line is, and this needs to come from you or our own people there, Fire Marshal, are our citizens safer with this proposed change?
I think absolutely. You cut down a response time from 18 minutes to 5 or 6 minutes, I think that's a significant difference in improving the quality of response that you get out of us.
You also have the consideration of, with this new proposed district and with the incorporating the Pelham district into the new proposed district, Ruffin intends on having staffing at that department at their substation at least 5 days a week from 8 to 5. That's going to give them that initial response a whole lot quicker. They've got someone who's going to be there in a much more timely manner. And we do also have a letter that I would like to read from the Ruffin chief. He has actually submitted a letter to, Pelham chief. I've talked to him so much that I keep saying the words together. I apologize for that. I have a letter here. It says, "To whom it may concern, I am writing on behalf of the Pelham Volunteer Fire Department of Caswell County to inform you that I, along with the Board of Directors, agree to turn over our district within the County of Rockingham to Ruffin Volunteer Fire Department. It has been our honor and privilege to serve the citizens within this district, providing fire and medical services in times of need. We knew that when Ruffin was able to secure funding for a station to serve the community, it would only be right for a Rockingham County agency to serve its citizens. It has been a pleasure to work alongside the agencies of Rockingham County, and we will continue to work with them through mutual aid and in any other times that we are requested. Should you have any questions, please contact me at the number provided. Josh Benfield, the Chief of the Department."
Thank you. Gentlemen, any other questions? Commissioner Powell, I think you were next.
Just a couple of points. The difference in the tax rate is really beneficial to the people that live in Rockingham County. But if you live in Caswell County, I think Caswell County pays a vehicle tax to the county too, don't they?
They do, and I had provided that as an example in case somebody asked about that. You know, I just used a $10,000 appraised vehicle value tax. With that $15 overlay and their current tax rate, it would be $18.69 that they would pay tax on that vehicle. Rockingham County, we would only charge the 13 cents fire district tax, so that would only be $13. So they would actually see a savings on some of their vehicle if they were paying
If they were in Caswell.
Yeah, because every vehicle that's registered to Caswell County pays an additional $15 per vehicle that's distributed between the 10 fire departments in that county, and that's been going on for a long time.
All right, and one last thing. I believe that the Ruffin Fire Department and the county have an agreement for an EMS unit at your station. Is that correct?
We've worked that out. We worked that out last Wednesday.
Okay, so I guess you would say the vast amount of your calls for service are medical calls these days, aren't they?
That's correct.
And so by having that station there, not only with one of your people on duty, but the potential to have an EMS unit there greatly enhances the survivability of your citizens in that area should they have, a heart attack or stroke or some things that require an immediate response.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Berger?
He covered.
Okay, very good. Very guys, any other questions? Commissioner, all right. At that time, we've gone through this. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion that we expand the Ruffin Fire Service to the northern Ruffin area for this resolution.
Motion, do we have a second? And we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Very good. Thank you, folks. Appreciate you all being here tonight.
Thank you, guys, and thank you for your support.
All right, that takes us to item number 8, Ronnie Tate, Director of Engineering.
I'm sorry, I took that away from you. That's fine. I have to do something you don't like to work.
Sorry.
Yeah, one of y'all already did. I ain't had much trouble. I ain't had much luck on those motions tonight. Which one? Yeah, he's on there.
I think y'all make it. Hey, Houston. Would you consider making that? I'll let you read it.
Right about 10 times.
You got it? Will it click through?
No, you'll have to scroll down.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen, again. Second item I have tonight is also landfill-related, and it is to discuss the sale of methane gas at the landfill to Waga Energy. And I'd like to introduce, there's two representatives from Waga Energy here tonight. Karina Sheridan, she is the Project Development Director. She came to us from Tampa today. And Mara Darty is Senior Project Engineer, and she came from Philadelphia to be here tonight for this meeting. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about the project at the landfill. So back in December of '22, the county received proposals back for RFP 2308, and that was for the sale of the methane gas. And after evaluating those proposals, WAGA Energy was selected by the county to begin the due diligence for the sale of that gas at our site to be converted to renewable natural gas. WAGA's proposal included a proprietary method for handling and reducing the large amounts of nitrogen that we have in our gas at the site and to process it into a sellable commodity. We have roughly 22% nitrogen in our methane, which is a pretty high level. The county manager and myself visited the WAGA headquarters in Montreal, Canada in August of '23, and this visit included a meeting with the WAGA management team, a tour of an actual WAGA site in operation, and a visit to their manufacturing facility for the WAGA box system. All of it was very impressive, very enlightening, a lot of information gathered on that trip. Staff has been working with Labella Engineering along with WAGA to identify a site at the landfill for the gas processing plant. There are 2 possible locations out there. We'll narrow those down here in the near future if the board approves this. And with that said, I'd like to just go over a little bit. I'm going to have to pull mine out because I can't read that. Can you guys see my PowerPoint up there? Okay. So these are some of the financial things with the project, and bear with me just a second. Let me find mine here. And so these are the financial costs to WAGA that they are having to pay. You see the electrical interconnection, the upfront costs, and the fixed annual fees, along with the connection of the gas interconnect to Williams Transco, the upfront cost of or roughly right at $3 million and $600,000 annually. So there were some significant cost challenges for WAGA to take on this project. But I think the amount of gas and the closeness to Transco made this an attractive project for them. And so if you look at this financial, let's see, hold on, I want to go to one more. This financial page here. So this is the amount of money that is projected in revenue to the county. And this is based upon their projections. They have a worst case, a base case, and an upside case for this. And right now, let me see if I can find it. If you look at the D3 RINs, and it is selling now for $3.23 per RIN. So it's above the base case, but not quite at the upper case or upside case for royalties. So you can see the revenue sharing down there. You can see the royalties over 20 years and the net present value of the money. The one other thing that made their proposal very attractive to us is the upfront payment. And so when we sign if the board approves and we sign the agreements, there'll be an upfront payment of $250,000 to the county. Once commercial operations begin, another payment of $250,000. And if WAGA is able to receive IRA credits from the government, potential of another up to $500,000 payment. And so as you can see, right now we burn that gas at the landfill, has no value to us at all. And this is a project that's going to generate revenue at no cost to the county. And I'll be glad to answer questions, or I can let the WAGA reps answer those better than I can.
I recommend that you let them answer the questions.
I have no issue with that whatsoever, so.
Gentlemen, does anyone have questions? Commissioner Richardson?
So that they have not wasted a trip.
That's exactly right.
Maybe it's more technical than most people want. You were talking about we could have a higher level of nitrogen. Is that NH4 or where's it coming from?
It's nitrogen gas. I don't know. I don't think it's NH4.
It's N2.
Yes. Yeah.
Where the N2 is coming from, because I want some of it given to me for my farm, see?
I don't know if we can mine that or not. I don't know that I can answer that specifically.
It's all
but-
gaseous is what you tell me, and so I'm looking for some sort of substance within the landfills that's degenerating to produce this nitrogen.
No idea, sir, what that is.
It's okay. 80% of the rest of the atmosphere is nitrogen anyhow. Well,
Right.
thanks a lot for that information, Ronnie.
Glad I could do that.
Ronnie, I will say that this is the first time since I've been on the board you brought us something that you require money. So you're doing real well tonight.
Okay.
Getting better.
Yeah, Commissioner Barrow.
Ronnie, I just have, well, first, thank you. You know, we served together on the Solid Waste Committee, and this is something we've been talking about and working on for a long time. So
We have, yes,
I'm really
sir.
excited to see this come to fruition. And also, let's not forget to mention the benefits to the environment instead of us having to burn it off. It's also,
Yes,
you know,
so as I said, currently we burn it, and that is allowed by DEQ. But this is a much better use of that fuel. It turns into renewable natural gas. It's sold on the open market as regular natural gas. So it is a huge benefit. And I think one thing that we will see, a secondary benefit from this is as we move forward in the life of the landfill and we have to permit additional sales, I think DEQ will look more favorably upon sites that have a way to dispose of that gas without burning it. So this is a way to hopefully gain some credit with them as well too. So.
question, Ronnie. So in the packet, it referenced option 2, but in my PowerPoint in the packet, I didn't see the options. Could you show me those?
I don't have it on PowerPoint. Option 1, the difference was there were no upfront payments. So that's why we recommended option 2. So that's.
I hate to be a stickler here, Ronnie, but you don't have any way for me to look at what the option 1 versus option 2 was?
I got it printed out. Sure.
It wasn't in my one that was emailed to me, so I just.
While you're doing that, Commissioner Richardson, I think you have a question.
Residue from combustion of the existing gas that's coming off. What is that residue, and what does that compare to the residue from what Wagabox is going to be producing?
So what's flared off, there's no residue that we collect out of it. So.
Oh, I know it's gaseous, but.
Yeah.
But it exists. I mean, you can't burn something without creating residue.
I don't think we have residue from it. If we do, I'm sure it's put back into the landfill, whatever residue is left.
How you'd put it back in because it's gaseous.
No, if it's something combusted and there's some type of residue left, it would go back to the landfill.
What gas is left over after you burn what's coming off the landfill now?
It's burnt. It's combusted. The methane's
Can
combusted.
you answer that for us, one of you
Sure.
ladies?
In the flare, there's usually carbon dioxide and some NOx, and, yeah, but usually you have a permit.
Nitrous oxide and carbon dioxide would be the answers I expect. Now, I'm looking from an environmentalist point of view. The residue from the byproducts of what you're producing and making natural gas, what are they?
Do is we will take.
Please.
So our goal is to capture the methane. The methane is, of course, what's converted to renewable natural gas, which is the saleable byproduct of landfill gas. So what we will do is we will capture the methane. All of the trace gases will then be sent to a thermal oxidizer for destruction. A thermal oxidizer works very similar to a flare. It actually gets slightly better combustion, which is the destruction of those gaseous forms, because it's more enclosed than a flare, so it's able to give you better combustion. We employ what's considered BACT, which is best available control technologies, and we usually exceed state standards for the combustion. The goal being combustion of 99% plus VOCs to ensure that those volatile organic compounds are destroyed before being released into the atmosphere.
so your product and the byproducts are less harmful to the environment.
Absolutely. So the benefits of renewable natural gas are really twofold when you look at landfill gas. First of all, because there's an incentive to collect that gas. We're really encouraging the landfills and supporting you in collecting that gas so it's not being emitted into the atmosphere. That's not a law everywhere for the collection of that gas. You guys do a great job of combusting it and treating it here. Then, of course, there's the displacement of fossil fuels. So we're using this renewable resource to displace traditional fossil fuels and not use them.
You have a question?
He disappeared.
He just left us in the hot seat, didn't he?
He did. He did. Well, let me
It's
ask.
about how confident he was in the numbers. And I'm not sure if you put the numbers together or if they did. Okay.
Oh, they're
All right.
probably accurate then.
Why didn't you say what she just said?
So let me ask you a question. Then. You guys are going to be making an investment in equipment
Yes, we
that will
are.
be situated within the county there at the site.
Sir.
So can I assume we would get property tax on that equipment? So we're collecting property tax. You're employing employees here. We're having less waste gas. We're able to produce another product, and you're returning some money back to the taxpayers. What's the downside of this?
There's no downside. It's good for your community. It's good for the environment. I love my job because I get to do something every day that benefits everybody. And my daughter loves that I save the planet. So, she gets brownie points at school.
You guys, some of the equipment you use, can you tell us about who you're affiliated with and who does some of that design, just so that the public can have an idea? Yeah.
Right now, we use a manufacturer based out in Canada. We have an affiliate, Waga Canada, so we work with them and our affiliate in France. France does the design, and then Canada does the manufacturing.
And you're
But then we
affiliated
have,
somewhere with Air Liquide as well, is that right?
that was our original company, so 3 founders came from Air Liquide, yeah. And then we also have some American companies. We procure a chiller and a dry cooler and a thermal oxidizer and flare in the U.S. from vendors.
So you guys have done this in other locations, is that correct?
Yes.
This will be our 38th facility. We currently have 24, I believe, as of this morning's press release in operation globally.
Now, we've had, I think Lance, you and Ronnie had gone and looked at one of these sites. Lance, what is your opinion of the operation?
I think it's great. We had a chance to meet with their whole team, the whole design team. We actually saw them. It's not like a cookie cutter. Each individual system's built to match your locality. So I think we'll be the first one in North Carolina, but I think you guys are working with other municipalities or counties within the state. But we are excited about it. It looks like a great product.
Very good. Gentlemen, any questions? Commissioner Barham?
I'd like to make a motion for approval of option number 2 as presented in the PowerPoint and board packet for the sale of methane gas to be converted into renewable gas by Waga Energy Company. Agreement is for 20 years, and the royalty rates were presented in the board packet.
Very good. Do we have a second?
Okay.
All right, so Mark Richardson, we have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Very good. Thank you, folks, for being here. Thank you. We appreciate that. All righty, that takes us to new business. Mr. Manager, any new business?
Yes, sir.
With that, we'll move to Commissioner comments, and Commissioner Barrow.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have no comment tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Richardson.
Yeah, thanks to all attendees. I'm sorry we lost some of it, but we appreciate everybody showing the interest in coming out. I'm back on my litter soapbox because as summer's coming, we've got a lot more recreational vehicles. We've got moving around. We've got people on our streams, and I would encourage all citizens and visitors to this county to be disposing of litter appropriately. And one piece of litter that I would like the public to help us with are what are commonly called yard signs, all sorts of yard signs that are within the right-of-way of the roads. And just generally, if you could get rid of those things so that as we approach the mowing season, the mower doesn't turn those signs into confetti and leave wire spread out just basically using good sense and dealing with litter, including any of the road signs. I'd also like to recognize tonight Mr. Mark Langle, who works down in our planning and zoning, been doing inspections for quite a number of years, and he has been our solid mainstay. He has stayed with us when we were short of personnel. He's worked overtime. He's become the authority. People call him from all the counties around to find out how we're doing it there in Rockingham County, and I think a lot of that has to do with Mark Langle. He saved the county money by keeping our inspections timely, and this is through a period of great expansion economically, lots of building going on, lots of wires and pipes and so forth to be inspected. And I just want to publicly express my appreciation and behalf of the county as well to Mark Langle for being such a wonderful employee. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Berger.
I believe since our last meeting, we had some community meetings as far as the tax reevaluation. Just want to remind the public the deadline is May the 8th. As far as any appeals, that is Wednesday of this week. Need to get the appeals in if you're interested in any of those appeals. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Howell.
So I'd like to take a moment to honor or to mention our elected officials that were here tonight. Our Sheriff Sam Page was here earlier, and our school board member Philip Butler is here with us tonight. There's been some good things in this meeting tonight. I know that this gas sales has been something on the radar screen for the county for quite a long time. Even though we pick on Ronnie, he's a valued employee, and kudos to you and to Lance and to those ladies for getting this going and doing this to help our county and as another revenue stream for the county as well. I would like to echo the remarks that Commissioner Richardson made about Mark Langle. I use that department a lot, being a builder, and all those guys are great down there, but Mark is tremendous in what he does. So, you know, if you've never had any interaction with him, I would engage you to go have interactions with them. If you're building something in the county, they will do all that they can to help you with your project. With that, Mr. Metzler, we will be posting the times and dates for the budget hearings. Is that correct? Yes, for the public? So be sure and take a look at our website page and, of course, our Facebook page and be here. I believe that we're going to change the order of our meeting a little bit when we adopt the budget or at least present it for adoption so that the public can have input on it after it's presented but before we vote on it. That's one of the things that we had kind of promised the public that we would change that. So we want you to have all the input on the budget that you can possibly have, and you may still not agree with it then, but it's a very transparent process, and we want you to be involved with it. With that, Mr. Chairman, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Again, I appreciate everyone coming out tonight. And we excuse me? Yeah. Okay. You were asleep.
I was.
Well, thank you, everyone, for coming out. And I just want to point out, we have a lot of volunteers. We talked about that a little bit. And we have great people who volunteer to help out in this community. Rescue folks, first responders. We appreciate those guys, what they do. We appreciate those willing to serve on boards. We have Tom Schofield here tonight. He's on our Board of Elections. We appreciate you. We appreciate Bobby Wharton. He served long terms on the RCC Foundation as well as on the fire department. So we appreciate volunteerism in this community. I think it's a unique thing for this area. With that, I will say that our next meeting is May 20th at 6:30 here in this building. And with that, we will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We are adjourned.